Everybody, it's me back, kicking on for day 6. I guess it would be, I think it's my 6th day doing it. I've been able to get one done a day, even though yesterday was done in 2 parts. And we're going to try to get on to day 6. Now, at the end of yesterday's stream, we looked at the problem and it looked pretty tricky. So I'm hoping that I can actually get part 1 done today during lunch, maybe make some progress on part 2, and don't think if I can't finish it right now I'll be able to finish it today. I've got some plans tonight, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. With that, let's revisit the problem, and while we're at it, let's see, what do we got here? Oh no. So there we go. I'm getting used to this Pop OS workstation here. It is right now there's like workspaces, and somehow all of my windows are on different places. So let's see if I can. All right, there we go. I've moved one, and now I've got to get this and somehow bring it. There we go. Right, now everything's in the same spot. All right, so let's pull out of this. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so we're going to be making a new day 6 here, but we're going to figure out which sort of template to use. But we'll read the problem first. So there's a 1000 by 1000 grid. Lights are going to be turned on and off. Some test cases here. How many lights are lit? Okay, so let's look at the puzzle input to see. Okay, so it looks like there's one on each page. So that would suggest that we need to do the thing where we have multiple lines, right? It was like yesterday, right? Let's look at the, yeah. So we're going to treat it like day 5. So let's copy and paste that. Call it day 6. And then we will CD into that. What? Oh. All right, now we're in day 6 here. Let's get rid of our input and add this. One thing I want to mention is when we're thinking about this, there's three different commands, right? So there's toggle, which I'm assuming means switch from whatever it is to whatever it isn't, right? Turn off and turn on. So what we're probably going to be doing is splitting this up based on space and only using the word toggle, the word off, the word on, and then each of the numbers to figure out what is what. All right, so let's save this. I don't think For now, we're going to need 2 tests, but we'll keep it for now. Close out of this. We're going to write some tests. I'm sure that one of them is going to be to figure out if we can toggle correctly. One to figure out if we can turn on, one if we can turn off, one that we can, check in a small grid. But those will be little unit tests. This one will be sort of our more integration test. We'll just get rid of this. Okay. So get rid of all these tests from the day before. We're going to keep our load. We're going to get rid of everything with the, well, we're probably going to keep array. I'm going to keep array for right now because I'm pretty sure that we're going to be passing in that whole string and then making it an array of strings, much like we did for each individual character yesterday. So I'm just going to keep that. We'll reuse that. Wonder if I should have kept the test for it. I can just go back and pull that test later. Array. So get rid of sandwich to repeat. Did I get rid of part 1 somewhere? That's fine. All right. So this is sort of put back together in sort of a basic format. All right, so now let's do our tests. We want the results to be I mean, this should work, right? We are reusing some stuff, so this should pass without a problem. Okay. So now what's the first thing that we need to test? I think that what we're going to need to be doing is splitting these. Here, let me just use this as an example. Splitting this into, this is the nice thing about TDD, right? Is that I can show you exactly through the test what I'm going for. Sorry, everybody. Let me check something. Make sure work Slack isn't. Not on call or anything, but we want to be so we're going to be doing array. And we want the result to be an array strings, and we want it to be populated with turn on, we're going to split it on spaces. Let me get rid of the rest of these. Okay. Why does it have a problem with this? Do I need another bracket here? I think sometimes I do. Right. So this is sort of one member. If I were to do multiple, I want it there. Let's call this array result just to keep things real. And let's capitalize this. Input, and then our string that we're going to be passing in is going to be, oops, this string right there. Okay. So this isn't going to work because that's not how we designed our last one. Our last one was designed to do it on an individual like character basis. So what we're going to have to do is go change array here to be to split it based on what am I trying to say? To split it based on the spaces instead of just each individual character. Then actually, I don't want this, do I? I just want just an array of strings. I don't want two of these because this is just going to be on a per string basis. All right. So return array, that's fine. And we're not going to do this loop. We're going to look up into an array to a slice. Oh, I remember this. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, it should just be one command, it looks like. I wonder if we can get rid of this and just say strings split string, the one I'm inputting, and we're going to split it on a space, right? And then we output that. All right, so let's test that. It gives us what we want. Okay, so what we're doing here, let's get rid of this and just return it straight away. Nice and simple. Okay, so all we're doing is making, go back to the test case. All we're doing is taking this whole string right here. Let me collapse this whole string, and we're splitting it on each word, which is good because then what we're going to be doing is making, I think, an object on each word. Let's do two of these. Because I want to look at through as well. Because we know turn on, right? And we know we don't need to do this. Let's not worry about it. We'll test that case in another thing. Because one of my concerns, right, is that this one has a length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This toggle one is going to have a length of 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't care about turn here, right? All I care about is the word on, because that's what's different between these two. Like, for example, in this line, the important things are on 0, 0, 99, 99. This is toggle. So I'm going to have to put in some logic there when I'm parsing through these arrays to say if the length equals this, it's a toggle one, and take index 1, 2, and or 0, 1, and 3, because those are 0, 1, and 3. Though I could also do something like ignore it if it says turn. I guess I could do that, turn and through. Let me try that. I'm going to just comment this out and get rid of turn. Let's see if I can simplify this. Through, I'm going to pass in that, because these are the only important pieces of information, right? I'm also going to want to, all right, so let's test. Obviously, that's going to not be right. What I want to do first is turn string. Let's see if I can do something where so the question is, do I replace it from the string? Probably. String old. Gotta wait. Get rid of whatever this advertisement is. That's annoying. All right. Taking forever even. Look at all that crap it's loading. I don't have ad block on this. Need to have ad block on this. Can't even. Come on. All right, well then I won't use you. All right, so what are we doing? Strings replace. So we'll just do 2 steps here. Equals strings dot replace. And I'm guessing we start with the string, so str, and old string is, let's look at what those words are. We want turn and through. So turn. I'm going to go ahead and say turn space, because we know that turn space is always going to be what it starts with, right? So I'm going to turn space. That way there's not like extra, it doesn't have like an empty slice there. We'll see if that works. And what we're going to have the new string. And what's this int supposed to be for? -1. What is that? Only replace some strings. Oh, maybe -1 means all. 1 would mean only like the first one. All right. So copy, paste, and through. And we'll do the same thing, right? Where we get rid of the space after it, leaving you know, it'll still leave 1 space, right? Because we want a space in between those. All right. So we have modified that to make that string and then split it. Let's see if that works. And it works. Good. So now we don't have to do any sort of post-production things. just to be sure, let's run this toggle one as well. Get rid of this. X. Copy this whole thing. Call it results 1. And this will be 009990. So we're doing this toggle line. And let's just put a space in here to make it up, to make it look better. Oh, we want toggle. All right, so now if we run both of these, it passes. Okay, so it is, and we'll show it failing here. So it is hitting that up. It's not noticing it because it doesn't match. Okay, so we are just getting our important pieces. Now we're going to further split this up into other important pieces. I wonder if we should also do that here, but we could probably do that later as we make a object out of that. So that's what I think mine, or a struct out of it. So I don't know how many people watching are familiar with Go, but one thing that's interesting about Go is that it has something called, I call them structs because I'm sure they're called like structures. And it's just the way, it's sort of like I think of it like as an object, right? So person, and then it has sort of the properties name and age, and you can sort of form an object out of these, and you can make new things, right? So what I think I'd like to do is make basically an array, or as they call it in Go, I'm going to try to get my words right for Go. A slice, which is basically an array but unknown length. So I'm going to make a slice, and instead of containing things like strings, it's going to contain an instruction object or an instruction struct. And each of those is going to have 4 properties, right? It's going to have a like a command on, off toggle, and it's going to have an X start, an X end, a Y start, and a Y end, right? And that will be our commands. And then we'll be able to, as we iterate through the set of instructions, we can call them, instead of calling them by some sort of index, right? We wouldn't say, like currently we might say data 0, 1, right, for the first instruction on, and 0, 2 for, this 0. That's not cool, right? That's not readable. Instead, it would be instruction dot X start or instruction dot Y start, and you'll see how that works. So let's make a instruction here. So test make instruction, and not unstruction, instruction, and copy that. We'll test it twice, just like with this one. I think that they are good ways to do this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this for this guy, toggle for this guy. Okay, and what we would do is just have something called wonder if I have to, where I have to define this. Let's define this. Well, let's just not define it first. All right, and we would have something like command what would this be? On. I think that's how it goes. Well, I guess we can look at it here. Let's make this struct first. I think that'll help. We'll put it at the top. What do we got? Type instruction. And it's got what do we call that? Command. And that is a string for now. We can change our minds later, right? Let's start with X. X start int X end. See? All right. So now we have this struct, right? This command, I don't know if you could do like yeah, we'll just make it a string because there are 3 options. If it was just like on and off, maybe we could do like a Boolean value where it's like true or false. But we can't do that because that command is different. All right, so let's see if now it is mad at us. So this is what's like setting them, right? What we want. Right, so we can see now that we mouse over this instruction, it sort of is telling us what the parts of it are. This needs to be a capital S. I'll be able to handle that. All right. So now we can go about making it. Right, and if we start typing, see, it knows that that command is there, right? So I can do tab, and it sort of tells me, it gives me some pointers as to what to do. So let's do, and then the order doesn't matter, right? I have to fill this out. All right, I need to look at, I'm not very good in my graphs, right? So X and Y, I wonder if I should call it like row and column end, just to be more, I'm going to actually. And even though this is, you know, you would think typically on a chart, test, you'd think on a chart it would be something like, right, this sort of, what am I thinking? You know, 0, 1, 2, 3 here like that, right, where everything starts in the lower left corner. That's not how we're going to be going through this, I don't think. And I guess it doesn't really matter, but I would say that, you know, based on the way that we're going to be indexing things, it would be sort of like this, right? Where index 0 of the row would start at 0, and then same thing for the columns. So, or the rows and the columns. So we will say like row and column instead of back. I think I'm back. I wonder if I can sew that back together. We'll see. Either way, let's keep trying to make this. Don't think I'll be ending up doing too much more than this today. Toggle and 0, 99, 0, 0, right? Is that what I'm looking at, right? It's going to start at 0, 0 and end at 0, 90, 0. Okay, so the column, it's only going to be doing like one column. The whole length of the row, one column. And the best part is if I get these wrong, all I'm going to have to do is, change it somewhere within how I'm building this, and it'll work. It'll only be one place. So that's good news. Also, I think I figured out why my stream dropped. It was because I was on the Wi-Fi and not plugged in. So maybe that did it. We'll see. All right, so now I have to make this function. So, well, no, first we have to test it. And it should fail. Don't have the function. All right, what do we got here? So what are we going to be passing into this? We are going to be passing our, what should we call it? Data? Probably not data. I'm just going to call it I for right now. S. And it's going to be that list of strings. And out, we're going to be getting that testing instruction. More appropriately, I think it's going to be like a pointer to an instruction. So all right. So we're just gonna call it, what should we call it? Not string. That's not. We'll call it just I line. Because that's what it is, a line of instructions. All right. So we know what that's going to look like. So we are going to make P, or what do we call it? I is equal to, so we're building this, right? I equals, we'll just return it. And what we're going to return is an instruction. That we can build here, right? So let's just grab this and put it here and set them equal, right? So this is going to be I line 0, right? We know that. That's the very first thing right there. Why is it unhappy? We need a comma, that's why. Row start is I-line. Remember the first part is going to be 1 and index 0, right? Let's copy this because these are all going to be sort of similar. Um, 2 0 2 1. All right. What do I need right here? It's still a comma though, I think. Why is it not happy about that? Is it yelling at me? I see new line. Wonder if I need to wrap that. No, there's no way. Oh, I see. Okay. So, okay. Okay, so here's the problem. I haven't split. Got you. So what I need to do is watch this. So this is the problem. Let me show you the problem. Is that right now, this is a string, right? It's one, it's not substringed, right? This isn't, we need to turn this, we need to do a function where we are taking index, index 1, right? Splitting it again on that comma into it. So what we need is doing something essentially that we're doing here with the string split. So let's say row equals strings split and we're going to pass in instead of like string, it's going to be I-line1. So that's the string that we're going to split. And we're going to split it on the comma. All right. So now row is those two, right? Now we're still going to have to turn it into a string here. Let's see how this works. Row, so row 0. Now the problem with row 0 is that it's a string and not an int. So we need to make it an int. String convert. S to I, was that, do I just do, let's convert. I think it's like a to I, is it? Yeah, A to I, okay. I might need to, I might not be able to do that because it is, like has that error option here too. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. String convert a to I with what that value is. Happy? strconv. Save it, import it. So this is wrong. Bad Stack Overflow. Bad Stack Overflow. Because we have to handle the possibility of an error. All right, let's make another function that just does that conversion and only returns string to int, and it's going to get a string, and it's going to return int and read let's call it I, and we need to handle an error equals right. So somehow I am always losing that first letter. All right. Handle the error, check, error, return I. All right, now we can get rid of that error and say that we just want this to be string to int row 0. We need a comma. Real quick, so we're gonna do all these. Let's we're gonna want to build a test for that too, right? Now that we have a whole different thought process. One, gotta make a column 2. Column with index 2. All right, so this should be fine, but we do need to make a string to int test. We're going to throw it string to int, copy some of this stuff. And grab an instruction here. I'm gonna test it twice. What do we want? Let's have a negative number and a positive number. And 0, just to make sure. And string to int, and we're going to pass in negative 999, 11. Remember, these are as strings, right? So 0. All right, let's test that. I'm not sure if that test make instructions will work. All right, so test make instructions still doesn't work, but it got to make instructions, which means it's converting these fine. All right, so what's it mad about here? Too many arguments. Oh, right, because what I'm passing in is 0099. So we know that this is returning what we want. So I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut. No, I'm not going to take a shortcut. I'm going to try not to make a shortcut. I was going to just pass in this, which should return these guys, but no. What I'm going to pass in is what goes into make instruction. So what I'm going to be passing in is a list of strings, right? So what it should look like is that, I think. Okay. All right, let's try. All right, fails. So what is the problem? Oh, okay. The problem is that these are coordinates that are based on both column and row, aren't they? Oh, I'm gonna have to, you know, for all my life, I've had problems with coordinates. Let's see. This is going to be something that's tricky for me to wrap my head around. So we have two coordinates. Let's see if we can get any clues here. Would leave on every light 0, 0. Would toggle the first line of 1,000 lights. So this is row start. So row end. So we can't call these row and column. So let's see. We'll just call it set 1 and set 2. I think this is, so the beginning of the row is row start is set 1 part 1, and row end is set 2 part 0. Okay. Row column start I think I've got this now. See, this is the nice thing about tests, right? Fail. Command. What's the problem here? What is this? All right, 44. Oh, that's because I'm doing it wrong here too, right? Okay. So we want the row to start here to end on 99. Well, this is the case. I need to learn better how to read these error messages here because so expected. Oh, I know what the problem is. These aren't stars. Is that it? Um, okay, that's a problem. So the problem is that I'm returning a pointer to an instruction that contains these things, and I wasn't providing that as what it should be. All right, so yeah, okay. So now we've got that working. Now we can. What's our next thought? All right, so we can. So what have we done? We have taken our set of instructions, our inputs, and we're able to turn each line into an instruction. And that's what we've done. Now, at some point, we need to iterate through those instructions and like execute that instruction. So let's make a execute instruction test. Let's see, tests. And we are going to be instruction one is going to be this one, I guess. Because we know how to make that, right? That was our result. I2 toggle. One. I2. What do we want the outcome of that to be? How can we even decide what the outcome is? This is three different types of instructions, right? One's turn on, one's turn off, one's toggle. I think what we're going to be doing is setting the values in this array to true and false, right? Where, like if the command is toggle, then it just says, not whatever it is. If it's true, it sets it to, or if it's on, it sets it to true. If it's off, it sets it to false. If it's toggle, it sets it to not what it is. I have an idea of sort of how to go through those instructions. I'm just thinking of how to test them. Let's, before we do this, comment that out. Let's make a test for change light. And what it's going to pass in is not there. Just whether we can turn it on or off. So it's going to return current value, the instruction. Maybe we'll see. Feeling. So so true is going to be if the light's on. We'll say light on, and we'll pass in the current state. So in this test case, the light would be off, and we are passing in the instruction of on. Right? Let's see, and then false. What's the other option? Toggle would be the same. Off. False. We're going to do all these. All lottie-dottie everybody. True, true, true. Because why not? Why not test them all? So true, toggled, or so if it's true and we want to turn it on, it should still be true. True should be off. False. I can never spell false. Off. False. Okay. So these should be all the conditions, right? All right. Let's run it. Fail. Everything's wrong. So our function was change light. Func change light, and what are we passing in? Light state, which should be Boolean, and instruction, which should be a string. And we are going to return a Boolean. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Let's do a case statement. What do we remember case? So there's only 3 cases. Switch. I like that example. I just did a different one. That's probably why I clicked on this one. All right. So our case, no, our switch is instruction. That's what's coming in, right? Switch is instruction. Case if the instruction is on. Return true, right? So if we're saying turn it on, just turn it on. It doesn't matter what the current state is, right? Right. Case off, return false, right? Because it's always just going to be false. Case toggle, return not light state. So if it comes in as true, it'll be not true, which is false. If it comes in false, it'll be not false, which is true. And it should flip those around. All right. So Y doesn't have a problem here. Missing return. It shouldn't, because that's bool. Why would that want more? I'll just say we should never get here, right? Light state. If it has a weird instruction, then we won't do anything. That'll just satisfy that. All right, let's test change light. It passes. All right, so we're able to do all these. All right, so now we can change the light. That's good. What else do we need to do? What else do we need to test? Let's think about what we got. We can read the file, turn it into instruction, execute that instruction. Now we need to start iterating over a line. All right, so I wonder if we're just ready for doing that stuff, because what I'm planning on doing is taking, right, okay, so for each line we're going to execute it, right? It's going to get the instruction, and then we're going to say for row start to row end, and then in that nest from column start to column end, execute, right? We're going to execute that toggle, and we're going to access. So all we need, okay, let's make a function to make our array. Func test make array, and this will be a true array, right? Because it's of known size. So I'm just going to make a small one, right? In reality, I will be passing in two numbers. They'll be 99, right? Three numbers of what they're supposed to be, because who knows if they're going to say, whoa, my mistake, they should all start in the on position. So let's say, let's do a 3x3 grid, 3, 3, and start all of them with being off. False. All right. And what we want is, hold on, let's make 2D array. And I know that there is, I think I looked at this yesterday, didn't I? What does that look like? Okay. So that's going to look like, I'm going to make it up here just because it'll be easier. 3, 3, bool, false, 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 and don't need that, and why is it mad? I do need, we want this to be the results. Let's test it. Fails, undefined. What did I call that? Make array. All right, I think this is the last thing I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll be able to have some time later to run it. What are we passing in here? We're passing in column, no, rows. Row. So this is the row length, right? Calls and now Boolean, and we are going to return I don't know if I can just do, or if I need to actually define these, right? All right, let's see. Two-dimensional arrays. I feel like there's got to be a way to, what's this mad about? Oh, who knows? And it is going to have rows. It is going to have calls. And it is going to have bool. Why? What is this? Why is it mad at me here? Invalid type. So which one's an invalid? Oh, because there's a comma here. That's a problem. All right. declared but not used. Rows must be constant. Let me use a different reference. This isn't the one I just had clicked on, is it? T is the data type. Hitting on the end of this. How do I just populate that? Because I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to like have to iterate through all of this. I mean, I guess it wouldn't take so long because I'm going to do that so many times. Let's see. Make. Oh, he doesn't know. What is dy? Dimension y. Okay. Rule false. Ah, where I go? Okay. See if why can't I do this? Can I use false? It was false untyped. It's a freaking Boolean. List of lists containing bool. Let's fail this, but see how this works here. So this seems to be a much more it's not just quite me being dumb. So let's see. This is going to be the last thing I do. Figure this out. And why doesn't it like this? So I can still do bool because that's what I want to do. And my problem is what does it say? Incompatible assigned. All right. On the right hand side of the expression, this side, cannot be assigned to the type of variable being assigned. So that's fine. Why can't I return that though? Because it needs to be. Okay. So let's test this. It's not gonna work because it's not. Oh, why is it working? Why is it working? It shouldn't work because I haven't filled it with anything. What happens if I make it true? Maybe they all just start with false. Oh. Well, that could be handy. What if I try to fill them with true? It just doesn't work. All right, well, if it defaults to false, it makes that. Let's see if we can. Yeah, see, that's going to be the problem. I can't. You know what? I'm just going to. I'm just going to know that when I did 3, right, and 3, and 3, and 3, and returned it, let's just say I get rid of this altogether and get rid of this altogether, and it comes back fine. If I am going to change this to 999, or I guess it would be 1,000. It's going to return. Well, let's do 4 just to. False, 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 false. It's false. Okay, well, I mean, so that means that if I return 1,000, do 1,000 here, and 1,000 here, and 1,000 here, then it will just make that starting array. I guess. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I'm gonna go with it. and we're not going to test it because that will cause problems. All right, so now all we would have to do is iterate over things. And I will do that later because I am running out of time and I got to get back to work. So we made some progress. We haven't answered any questions yet, but we have come a long way in testing our code. Really, all that's left for us to do for part one is some sort of, get the array that's all false, right? Get instruction, or iterate for instructions. To make that list. I guess I should probably make a function to make that like list of instructions. But either way, we'll figure that out. Iterate over the instructions. And with each instruction from what would be row start to row end, from call start to call end. And then what we would do is execute. We would say that the value of, let's just call it ij, right? Assuming that like I is the row, or let's say RC. That'll be easier to think about. Equals that function where we have execute, where we have value execute, right? So it'll change that value, and we'll do that for each instruction, and then at the very end we can count them all up, right? Count trues. So that would be all the lights that are turned on. I think that's what they're asking, right? How many lights are lit? Yeah. So yeah. Let's see. This is something that I could do right here. I could test each of these steps, right? Because if I make this thing, if I make this 1000 by 1000 array, and I just run one command on it, I should be able to see, a million lights on, right? If I run just this command, I should see just 1000 lights on. If I run it, this one and that one, I should see 900 lights on, right? So, or 9,000 lights on. You know what I mean? So, maybe we can come up with some tests and do that in a bit. All right. But for now, I'm going to take off, back to work. Lots of stuff to do. Thanks for joining.